Nearly 5 years ago, Ava Max was poised to become a major pop girl. Her song Sweet But Psycho hinted at a revival of the 2010s pop landscape as the song vaulted to the top 10 in the United States and topped the charts across Europe. In a time where trap pop was dominating and the disco pop revival of the 2020s hadn't happened yet, Max built up a small but solid fan base dubbed the Avatars. No, not those ones. Or that one. Max had arguably everything you think a pop star would need to succeed in the modern world. A killer voice, a collection of bops, and her own little gimmick, the infamous Max cut, a ridiculous yet camp half haircut that became her calling card. Behind the scenes, Max was supported by her boyfriend and main producer Circuit. One of the producers behind some of the biggest smash hits of the 2010s, he was a producer and writer on some of Katy Perry's smash hits like Part of Me, Roar, and Dark Horse. One of his most recent hits was co-producing Sam Smith and Kim Petras' Unholy, which hit #1. Backed by Atlantic Records, who were determined to mine their own metaphorical diamond, a pop star that could be akin to the next Gaga, even drawing positive comparisons to Gaga's character from A Star Is Born Ally Main, Ava Max, same initials, it seemed like Max was really destined for main pop girl status and greatness. Then the fumbling happened. A poor follow-up single choice, So Am I, failed to connect, as did a string of singles that did well internationally but didn't build Max's US presence. This ultimately led to a modest debut for her first album, Heaven and Hell, in 2020, 2 years after Sweet But Psycho put her on the map. I reviewed Heaven and Hell on this channel many years ago and was not a fan of its reliance on sampling as well as its lack of creativity and personality. Critics gave it more positive reviews, but also noted the same flaws I did. Perhaps the most cultural impact Heaven and Hell had was an infamous Roblox event in which a giant Ava Max was pushed into a lava pit by attendees. Regardless, Heaven and Hell spawned a second top 20 hit for Max, Kings and Queens, which contains an interpolation of Bonnie Tyler's If You Were a Woman and Bon Jovi's You Give Love a Bad Name. Kings and Queens seemed like a second shot at Max's main pop girl moment. She had momentum again. 2021 proved to be a disastrous year for Max's momentum, something she's even admitted was the inspiration for her second album, Diamonds and Dancefloors, which I'm reviewing later in the video. You can skip to this time mark for the review. It was a bad year. Max released My Head and My Heart, a bonus track for Heaven and Hell, which I surprisingly rooted for. Despite it being yet another sample, this time of ATC's Around the World, it was a vocally charged and powerful dance banger. Despite a solid push which ranged from a solid music video to performances on talk shows, the song stalled at 45 in the States and was a modest hit overseas. The song more or less closed out the Heaven and Hell era. In March, iconic pop producer Stargate hinted that he was working with Ava and Charlie XCX in the studio, drumming up anticipation and hype for a potential collaboration. Sadly, it was not used for Crash or Diamonds and Dancefloors. In June, Max dropped standalone single Every Time I Cry. This track doubled down on the house electro pop sound that Max had cultivated, and despite positive critical reception, the song only peaked at 99 in the UK and missed the US charts entirely. Some speculate that this was meant to be the lead single of what would become Diamonds and Dancefloors, but Max clarified later that it was a bridge between her debut and her next album. Max would also serve as the opener for Maroon 5's tour that summer. From a commercial standpoint, 2021 had to have rung some alarm bells for her label, her team, and herself. Max closed out 2021 with a somewhat successful feature on Tiesto's The Motto, which missed the top 40 in the States but did quite well in international territories. In hindsight, 2021 was an extremely competitive year, dominated by established stars, including label mate Dua Lipa and the powerhouse debut of Olivia Rodrigo. Finding your footing in that year was pretty hard. 2022 proved to be a messier year in my opinion. Max properly teased her second era by cutting her infamous Max cut, signaling a change in image and sound in February. She released the lead single Maybe You're the Problem in April. The song, in all honesty, deserved to smash. Sonically, it's an evolution on the disco synth pop revival trend that we've been seeing over the last few years. An absolute power breakup anthem that really channeled Blinding Lights and As It Was. The music video was directed by the legendary Joseph Kahn himself. It's stunning that this song missed the charts entirely and only peaked at 83 in the UK, one of Max's strongest markets. In June, Max later unveiled Diamonds and Dancefloors, along with its admittedly atrocious original cover art on The Today Show. Max would go radio silent until August, where she teased her next single and infamously performed at a Sam's Club parking lot in Greensboro, North Carolina. Max would go on to release Million Dollar Baby in September, the second single off the album, sampling the iconic LeAnn Rimes track Can't Fight the Moonlight. Perhaps the reference being a little too old for Gen Z to catch on, it was still a delightful song. Despite a killer music video and push, the single failed to chart and likely caused the album's delay. See, this album was supposed to be dropped on October 14th of 2022. Unfortunately, the album partially leaked in early September, then leaked in high quality in October due to a shipping error, leading to some fans receiving physical copies of the record ahead of time. Ava Max was devastated and had to address these leaks on TikTok. She even contemplated scrapping the entire record. Nonetheless, she persisted and released 3 more singles before the album's release: Weapons, Dancing's Done, and One of Us, throughout the winter of that year. None of the tracks made a dent due to the holiday freeze, and blockbuster releases like Taylor Swift's Midnights and SZA's SOS dominating the charts. At the very end of 2022, it was revealed that Max had left her previous management to join Scooter Braun Project. As you can see, it's been a wild roller coaster for Max, with a lot of ups and downs, the last 2 years especially being tragic considering she suffered an album leak caused by an antsy label or team that didn't believe in her vision. It's an absolute tragedy in my opinion. I understand that labels invest a lot of time and money to get pop stars to chart, to find success, etc. But I do believe that by delaying albums because of charts, you ultimately damage the vision and the ideas that they had, and it never works out. It never works out waiting for a hit. It's really ironic because Heaven and Hell suffered that same issue. Which brings us to now, and my review. Diamonds and Dancefloors is finally out, and I'm honestly glad that Max did not scrap the album. It's a huge leap above Heaven and Hell and a well-crafted dark pop record that I imagine would have dominated the charts in the early 2010s. Sleepwalker, a deep-cut wedge between 2 singles, proves to be one of her best songs to date. With a hook that feels familiar and unique enough to not be a sample, Max builds a stronger sense of identity and uses her powerhouse vocals to really distinguish herself from her peers. I really did like the guitar solo that Circuit threw in there. Ghost is another standout. It really touches on being haunted by an ex. I felt like this should have been a single, and it speaks to the album's original October release date. I do think with the dark pop slant that it would have worked for a Halloween release. Whoever decided to delay it, they sabotaged this record. Hold Up, Wait a Minute recalls Daft Punk's production. The usage of strings on the track is really nice. The lyrics don't quite match the instrumental's brilliance, but it is a good favorite of mine. Weapons is one of the few tracks that never worked for me. It sounds like an inferior version of Lil Nas X's That's What I Want, ironically sharing the same co-writer Ryan Tedder. He's done another Halo Already Gone thing. The title track is a catchy ode to missing dance floors and clubs during the pandemic. My only complaint about that track is how short it feels. It really needed a bridge. In the Dark's pre-chorus works so well for me, but the rest of that song just feels super clunky, though I do like its UK garage instrumental. Turn Off the Lights really gets the album back on track for me. I really did like those fun vocal effects on the chorus, and the progression from each section really makes for a smooth smash. One of Us initially didn't wow me, but it's definitely giving a song from Victoria's season 1, like an episode where Tori is sad over a boy not putting in effort. I really think it needed a bridge where Ava pours her art out to really sell the song, but I do like it. Every album has one killer standout, and Get Out of My Heart is the standout off this record. Pop girls must be really obsessed with Kill Bill because this one samples the iconic Twisted Nerve. This is the song that Elle Driver whistles in Volume 1. It's an absolute banger front to back, a kiss-off anthem that cleverly uses its sample and tells the clear story. I'd love for this one to get the single treatment. The lyrics may be a little bit thin, but they work so well. It even has a bridge. Cold as Ice is a unique track. It does sound very different from what she's given us before, and it leans into the dark Europop influences, but it did not gel for me. I just thought that it was brave. Last Night on Earth is a standout for me. The chorus is an earworm. I'm a sucker for apocalyptic dance track. I adored the Bastille-esque backing vocals on the post-chorus. The album's closer, Dancing's Done, according to Ava, teases her next album sound, thus sounding really jarring, but it's a really cool teaser trailer for what's next. The chorus evokes Britney's iconic Hit Me Baby One More Time. It's just such a nice slice of dark pop, a space that Ava can really call her own. Overall, I think Diamonds and Dancefloors isn't quite a game changer for Max, which is a shame. It could have been if it was promoted a little bit better. It's a solid collection of mindless pop tracks that have killer productions, catchy choruses, and powerhouse vocals. It's a loving homage to the pop of yesteryear and a fun exercise where Ava gets to spread her wings artistically. If you're an Avatar or a pop stan who really misses this kind of sound, you'll be more than happy with this record. It's such an improvement over A Heaven and Hell, which I just hated. It did not have a cohesive theme or message, and it was just as disjointed as Max's hair at the time. Diamonds and Dancefloors is her redemption for me. There's no ballads, there's barely any filler, it's just straight up bops. If you really listen hard enough to the lyrics, they'll leave you crying on the dance floor, which means she accomplished her job. I give her a solid 7.7 out of 10 and a recommend. I will say though that I feel like I still don't know her as an artist or a person. I would love for her to do more interviews or junkets or be a little bit more personal on the next album, but this was a good step forward for her. I'm not quite an Avatar yet, but I see a potential mother in Ava Max. Let's just hope that her team doesn't fumble the bag next time. Super quick shout out to my members. Thank you so much for supporting my channel. Like, subscribe, and comment your favorite track off this album. And just a quick heads up, I will no longer be doing any live streams on my YouTube. All of my live streams will be on Twitch so that we can actually listen to the music together. So definitely sign up for my Twitch if you haven't. Those are a lot of fun. We just listen to music videos and talk shit. I'll see you next video.